Anybody want to come up? Well, come on. I know I'm the good things that happen in Mike's life. Wow! Yeah, listen to this.
The Reader's Digest version here. A number of the people have already heard this before.
We're happy to hear you.
Tell it like it is.
Well, back in September of 22, I was out working on a job and got injured, tangled up in a vine that had a big thorn on it. So the story is that ended up getting infected. I ended up in the hospital with sepsis and nearly died. Doctor told me if I waited another 4 hours, I would be here today. Anyway, I don't know if it was the massive doses of antibiotics or the infection itself, but heart damage, heart was functioning at about 50%, atrial fibrillation, that sort of thing. And then I started having problems with my equilibrium. I could barely stand up, could hardly walk. I had to shuffle like an old man. I couldn't lift my feet off the ground. I had to just slide them a few inches at a time. If I turned my head at all left or right, I would fall over. If I looked down, I'd be on my knees falling. If I looked up at the ceiling, going backwards. Anyway, 2.5 years of going to doctors, having every possible test. They finally got to the point when the specialist down in Charleston, and after 3 hours of testing, they identified a few things they thought might be wrong. Damage to a vestibular nerve, which can affect your equilibrium. Having seizures, making my eyes jump, making me think my body was shifting, that sort of thing. So they scheduled me for another test, 3.5 hours worth, to go into depth, trying to determine whether anything could be treated with medication, physical therapy, surgery, that sort of thing. In the meantime, between the first round of testing and the scheduled second round, Dr. Siddiqui was here. And I came to the meetings over that couple of days as a skeptic, doubting Thomas. I wanted to see proof. I'm sitting in the back row, just watching, listening intently to see if there was anything to it, or if it was just some sort of a scam. And at some point, he said, "Anybody in need of healing, raise your hand." I had no intention of raising my hand or coming down front. My hand went up. My wife was shocked and looked at me and said, "You go down there?" And I said, "Yes." And I stood up. She knew I couldn't stand for more than a couple of minutes, I think. So she came down with me to help me. And there were probably a dozen people lined up here across the front. I was right in the middle of it. So it was taking Dr. Siddiqui a minute or so, going down with each person, asking their ailments. He would pray for them. And I was listening to that. And I remember hearing him praying with the person directly beside me to my right. But I don't remember him stepping in front of me. Something extraordinary happened. I can't explain, but when I came back to my senses, evidently another 5 or 6 minutes had passed. Because when I opened my eyes, I was standing here, and everybody had dispersed. So Eeyore made it past me and gone to the end. People were milling around in here talking to each other. I'm standing there, I open my eyes and realize I'm looking down at my feet. And I couldn't understand how that was possible, because if I looked down, I'd be falling to my knees and kicking myself. And I was puzzling over that. And then I wondered, can I look up? So I looked up at the ceiling, and I didn't fall forwards. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And as I look around, I see people talking, but I can't hear anything. It's like I was deaf. And I decided I wanted to see if I could actually take some steps. So I started to walk down here to see if I could actually move and not fall and have to shuffle my feet. Pastor Aaron was standing there and looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" But I couldn't hear her. I was reading her lips. There was no sound. Everything was totally silent. And I tried to respond, and my mouth was moving, but no words were coming out. I couldn't speak. And she asked again, "Are you okay?" And all I could do then was just nod yes. And I walked on past. It wasn't until the next day that I realized why she was asking me, "Are you okay?" I was crying, and I didn't know it. And I don't know why I was crying, and I couldn't stop it. Tears were just flooding down my face. Sorry, it's a little emotional. But I went on out, went over to the fellowship hall.
It's okay. We're messing with things.
Okay. Went to the fellowship hall next door because I wanted to see if I could walk down that long highway. And I could. I took the big strides, 3-foot strides, turned my head left and right, just amazed what in the world happened here. Then I went out the front door to walk around the parking lot. I always had trouble getting off that front porch. The parking lot's not entirely level. I would stumble all the time trying to get to it from the car to the church. And I ended up, my hearing came back because I noticed I could hear the cars on 544 by that time and see the lights of them going by. That was very strange because moving lights always just shut me down. I couldn't function with any sort of motion like that. But I went out to the sidewalk and walked about 100 yards up the street and back with no problem. I came inside, and by that time I could speak again. I was hearing, I was asking people what happened. Because I had evidently lost time. Don't know what happened during that 5 or 6 minutes. The only thing I remember is I had my eyes closed, but I was seeing in my mind a shadow, like a plume of smoke that was standing in front of me. Something was being spoken, but I couldn't understand. I don't know if it was mumbled or far away, or that I couldn't make out what the words were. And then I'm here when I come back. So I was asking people what happened. And I don't remember who it was, but somebody said they saw me standing there with my head bowed, and they just thought I was praying. So they were leaving me alone to pray. Anyway, it was about 8 o'clock by that time, and everybody was leaving. We went home. I didn't sleep at all that night. I was up all night trying to figure out what in the world has happened here. But it's now been, I'll tell you one more thing. 2 weeks after this happened, which was Sunday night, February 9th of last year, my appointment in MUSC was scheduled 2 weeks after that, and I almost canceled it because I don't need this. I don't need the physical therapy anymore. You go see the doctor, see what else might be done. But I decided, no, I'll go see what they find. Last time they found some stuff. I got 30 pages of test printouts showing what they found wrong. And I was going back for another 3.5 hours of testing to see what they might be able to do about it. Well, I got there and they did the 3.5 hours of testing. And I've got the results. 38 pages of it. Everything. Normal. There's 2 or 3 test results on every page. So, for people like me that are skeptical, that Howdy Thomas wants to see proof, I've got it. If anybody wants to see it, I can show you the test results from the first test. And from the second test, it said everything's okay. They couldn't find anything wrong with it. And it's been a little over 14 months now. And I've had no trouble with my equilibrium. I get around just fine. I've had no incidents of AFib with my heartbeat going crazy. So it's a miracle. It's possible. And I can testify that it's for real.
Oh God, who's next?
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
I'm next. Are you next?
That's what we want. We want what our good God has